Good morning, good morning, good morning. So I am going to this morning do a very light Saturday face because I just want to look cute while I'm on my mommy errands today. I'm not even sure what they all are yet because I need to make a list. But I started my day cleaning my office, which is also the guest space for my niecey poos, my girls that are coming to spend the night today. And I realized I have some errands to run. I actually have to go by my workplace to get some things out of my house that really should be at work. I have been, since Thanksgiving, working to find balance between home and work so that I don't take care of things that are for home while there. And I also try my best not to be working at home. But I had some events come up and some overlapping responsibilities, and those things made me have to break that. And I actually just said to a friend that I overcorrected on the curve. And it got to be like way more going on at home than I would have ever wanted there to be. Having some space challenges and such, and getting things together that I needed. Those who are Facebook friends of mine and live in the region where I live, you probably saw that there were competitions in our school district. And that was a big part of what took over my family room and a little piece of my kitchen and some of my office. And so I am having to fix that. And I recognize that for me, whenever I have surfaces in my home that are messy, so when I say surfaces, my dressers, countertops, beds, desks, if the surfaces are all askew, then that means that so is my mind. So that is how I recognize that it's time for me to do a little bit of correction. Because when my surfaces get messy, I mean my brain is all going crazy. I definitely have experienced quite a bit of stress over the last few months, or a couple months. And I had started and will continue the YouTube channel as I find ways to take care of my body, my mind, my spirit, and to speak out about how to do that. I was inspired to come on today and talk to you guys because I ran into somebody who remained nameless because I don't want to call names and be like, you didn't say what I said. But I ran into somebody in a very unexpected place who said to me that she loves to watch when I do my makeup as I'm talking to you guys. And she referred to me doing it as self-care. And as she described it, she's like, oh, and you're like, I'll just pat my face. And, so for her, it was, the epitome of taking care of yourself, giving yourself this time. And it really is just a few minutes. And so I have been actually impressed with my own time. And when there have been at least 2 times where I've said, hey, I got 7 minutes. I have 8 minutes, guys, and I want to tell you something. And I stick to that time. I've actually, used that concept of timekeeping from within to give educators some ideas about how to help kids move through assessments and such, because kids need to know what it feels like for 2 minutes or 3 minutes to pass. Sometimes, especially when you're doing activities in a classroom that require us to move on to the next thing, that goes for labs and hands-on activities and stations and all those things. Early in life, I do believe kids need to understand what it means to have time limits as a whole. I often joke and tell people I don't do well with exact on the hour times or the fives. So if somebody tells me that something is at 3:15, it helps me to remember that it's at 3:12. or 3:09 or something like that. I set alarms for weird times. I make classroom and workshop time strange. So my activities I do in workshops or classrooms are usually 7 minutes or 14 minutes because that helps me to keep track because I stay on my toes like that. It's easy for us to allow 05 to go by and be 07 or allow 15 to go by and be 21. So I definitely think it's really amazing that I've trained myself in that way. Now, speaking of training ourselves, I'll tell you what, I really wanted to come and talk to you guys about showing up as yourself. Show up as yourself. Some time ago, I said to a colleague of mine, show up. And it came across my spirit so strong that I just kept saying, show up as yourself. All your flaws and imperfections in progress, all of your experiences and understandings, whether correct, incorrect, whether or not they're appropriate for the moment. I sometimes tell students, I need you to be loud and wrong. But what I mean is, I want you to be wrong out loud. Once I say that, be wrong out loud. I cannot help to correct your thought processes if you don't tell me what they are. So I tell them, be wrong out loud. And so often, I think people show up in places and they are not fully transparent with their expectations or their experiences. And when you do that, then you don't give the people who you're coming in contact with the opportunity to change the way they approach or plan for how to best suit your needs because you're not showing up. Sometimes people come into spaces and they come in as they think they are expected to, or behave like they think somebody wants them to. And because they have tamped down their personalities or tamped down their expectations, their ideas, then somewhere inside is this piece of us that thinks we are owed some deference or owed some, what's the best word for it? Like we're owed somebody appreciating us doing that. So I didn't say what I thought, so you should have appreciated that and not give me a hard time. I did what you wanted and not what my idea was, so you should be better to me. You should be nicer. You should be kinder to me because I was less than I could have been. I said less than I could have said. I gave you less of a hard time than I could have given you. And so you probably should like cool out and be okay with what I did because it is what I thought you wanted me to do. That doesn't work, right? We don't actually get appreciation for unspoken, intangible behaviors that are outside of our character. When you think to yourself, oh, well, I could have told him this or I could have said that and I didn't. So you should be glad that I didn't. They're not. Because they don't know that that's what you would have done or what you would have said. The only thing that can truly be maintained and revisited is honesty. If you are not coming into spaces as yourself, you are in essence lying. And lies can never be maintained. You can never keep track of a whole bunch of lies. Now, if you are a master actor or actress and you can break into that character at any given time, do that. We all have to code switch sometimes. I'm not saying don't behave yourself. I'm not saying be, a real butthole all the time. I'm not saying that. But I am saying be true to who you are in all of your spaces. Sometimes the best thing to be is quiet, but Quiet is so much better anytime than giving a nod to something that you don't really agree with, saying okay to something you really don't want to do without hashing it out first, right? So you can agree to disagree, you can concede to a different opinion, but not without being clear about what you really think. Because later on, if it all goes to flames, you will be then thinking about all the ideas you had, all the things you wish you had said, the ways you could have done it differently, but you never said a word. Now, this goes in any of your organizations. This is for your jobs. This is for your churches. This is for your relationships. Don't pretend to be something that you are not, or do something you don't agree with without having it be known what you think is the better option. Now, there are exceptions to everything. But today I just felt the need to say, be yourself. Last night I was watching a documentary that Questlove put out. And I was only really watching it because I like to support Questlove from the roots. So the documentary is called Sly Lives. And it's about Sly and the Family Stone, Sly himself, Sylvester. So Sly and the Family Stone was born of a person who loved all kinds of interactions with people that were not necessarily like him, according to everybody else. So Sly started out in a family of musicians and singers that did gospel music and very, very, very deep into church. And his father started a gospel group with him and his siblings. And he lived in California and found himself lots of times around and surrounded by a lot of Caucasian people. And his father promoted that so that he would have access to all kinds of cultural differences and opportunities and things. Even though they were deep into Black church gospel music, he promoted them, bringing people in that were different than they were. And so as Sly and the Family Stone developed, it was one of the first, the first very famous group of people that was integrated in any way. And at first it didn't go over very well. But he has a song, or they, Sly and the Family Stone, has a song that says, "Thank you for letting me be myself," again, right? And so that song was really born of him finding his way through places and spaces that a lot of times people did not expect him to be in, having relationships with people that folks didn't think he should have relationships with, and overall being a very genius, different kind of person. The kind of clothes he wore, the music that he mixed together, the different genres that he brought together, and how those things brought people together. So the song says, "Thank you for letting me be myself." So he had to find a way to make spaces where people really appreciated him, and he appreciated that appreciation. It makes me understand that we won't always be in spaces where we're appreciated. But when you're operating your gifts like Sly was, when I'm operating my gifts like I do, and when you operate in your gifts like you do, the end result will always be for the best. There might be discomfort, and you may have to wade through some emotions. You may have to wade through some experiences that people have. You may have to wade through some perceptions. But at the end of the day, the outcome will be worth it, as long as you show up as yourself. Show up. Today, show up. Use your voice, your power, your talents, your spirit. Show up so that the outcomes will be what is needed in this world, because you're here for a reason. All right, that's it. Love you, bye.